Welcome to a Management Plus training webinar. My name is Kevin Sloan. I'm a certified electronic health record specialist and certified ophthalmic technician. Management Plus is an industry leader in EHR, and we want to provide you with the documentation tools and the skills to use these tools proficiently. Today's training webinar is titled CCD and Reconciling from a CCD. Let's get started. From time to time, your physician will need to refer a patient to another specialist or to another office and transition that care for one reason or another. And you will want to send the other physician your medical data. If they have a certified EHR system, they can take advantage of the CCD document. The CCD document stands for Continuing Care Document. It is set up by government standards and contains specific elements of data from within the record. It is not the entire record. It just has certain pieces. To access a CCD document and to export that, this is one of the 3 reasons you will ever need to open a record. First reason is if you're going to add new data and then save it. Second reason is to post charges. And the third, which is the most rare, is if you're going to export out a CCD. As you can see, if you right-click on this record, you do not have the option to export out a CCD, so you must reopen that record. If you're inside the record, you'll need to save it before you can export out a CCD. To do this, we'll click File and choose Export CCD. These are the options that you can contain within your CCD. Most of these are contained within a Management Plus CCD. Some are not, such as immunizations. And there are some others, like planned treatment, that are not. It's okay to leave those all checked. You'll just not get any data out from those, so it's perfectly fine. But you'll notice that this, again, is not your full narrative. This does not have all of the data that you would normally see within your narrative. As you can see, there's no anterior, posterior segment or refractive information on this. These are only specific elements that are specified by the government for a CCD. Certainly you can uncheck some if you want. Otherwise, just leave them all checked. Again, if your system is not set up to capture this data, it's perfectly fine to leave that checked. Just click OK. Now you'll choose a location. I'm going to put them in this test folder that I've called 4516 Test CCD. And you'll notice here it gives this a name of marysmith.xml, and it says Clinical Care Document. And I'll choose Export. The information message indicates it has been saved. Now within my File Explorer, you can see that there are actually 2 different files, XML and HTML. You can double-click the HTML file, and it will launch your web browser if that file type is set up to do so. And you can see that mine does. It launches Firefox, and I can scroll through this, and it is actually readable. Okay, the XML is actually used for reconciling meds, problems, and allergies into a new record. Let's just demonstrate that. So we have the CCD document exported and saved into a location on my computer. If I were going to send this information via direct send, I would launch that and attach those files. We'll cover that in a separate training webinar. Okay, we're going to close this database out here. I have another database open, and for our training purposes, I'm going to go into Mary Smith's demographics. Mary Smith does not have any prior EHR For the purposes of this training, this is a separate database from what I originally exported her out from. And she does have the exact same last name, first name, and date of birth. It is very important that these three elements are exactly the same. They have to match this criteria. So, you will do this in the event that you receive a direct send email from an office that has a certified EHR. You've saved that XML and HTML file to someplace on your computer, which in this case we're going to use the very same place that I just put it on when I exported it. But if you were in a different office, you could just put this on your desktop or any place at all from your direct send email or the tool that you use to send and receive encrypted medical data. You just want those files to be residing somewhere on your computer or network so that they can be quickly accessed. So let's reconcile meds, problems, and allergies from that XML file. Those three elements are the only three portions that you will be able to actually bring inside of a new record. All of the other information you can view via the HTML, or a preferable method would be if the other office had sent you a PDF of their narrative. That's going to have everything. Chief complaint, HPI, anterior and posterior segment findings, all of the refractive information, and other associated data. That's really the preferred method. Hopefully you will have received all of that, and you can just bring that right into the health record and attach it and launch that via Adobe. So we're going to simulate reconciling from a CCD that was sent from another office. So we'll right click and we'll do new. And I am using the ophthalmology forms. This is no different when using the optometry forms, but we're just going to use the ophthalmology forms just for this demonstration. So I'm going to choose a physician, and I have no data in this record. If I look at the narrative, you can see that it is totally blank. This again is the runtime narrative. It is totally blank. It is a brand new record, and this will be the first step that you will want to do when prepping this record for the physician when the patient arrives into the office. Hopefully you will do this maybe a day or two or even a week in advance so that you can take your time and get this information in. If a patient was to have a long list of meds, problems, and allergies, this is very helpful in getting this record prepped. It saves you a lot of time versus manually inputting that information in. So we will choose a description of, new patient exam or whatever your office wants to document, and we'll choose file, and then the section here associated with CCD, we'll choose incorporate CCD. I have found that this is actually the quickest and easiest method to get meds, problems, and allergies into the record. Okay. And because I've actually accessed this folder previously, it goes right to this. Otherwise, you're going to look somewhere on your computer for the file that you have saved. So I'm just going to access this folder, and we'll just double click on that. And what you will experience now is the system will go through each form, and if there's any meds, problems, or allergies grids found on those forms, it will add that to those forms. So you can see that it's working down through the list here. It's at checkout, consents, meaning for use, and when it gets to the bottom, a message will be displayed when it's finished. Okay. And it did not display it this time, but oftentimes it will. But you can see that I am on the chief complaint HPI form. It did put in the problems that were documented on the other database. And if we go to the medications and allergies form, the allergies here and the medications are here as well. The medications, you can actually see that it says imported from CCD. Can't quite see it there. Let's take a look at this runtime narrative. And you can see that it says that right here, imported from CCD on this. The other grids won't really say that, but that's okay. So the runtime narrative that previously had nothing has now all of the problems, medications, and allergies from that XML file. And as you can see, if the patient had a lot of these, this would save you quite a bit of time. Now, there is one other option to get information into this. I'm actually going to delete all of this information from these grids. Right-click, prescriptions, delete. Same way with allergies grid. It's right-click, allergies, and delete. These have to be deleted one at a time. I could go to the meaningful use form and access all three from the same form. Doesn't really matter where this is done. Okay. As a side note, meds, problems, and allergies are saved within the record differently than all of the other data. If this record was not saved at this point, and I was actually back out of this without saving, and then created a new record, those meds, problems, and allergies would be retained, even though the record was not saved, because they're saved within the database differently. So that's why I manually deleted those off. Look at this runtime narrative again. Once it rebuilds, this should be blank, and it is. So now we're back to square one. I'm going to show you option 2. It takes a little more work to do it this way through option 2, but I did want to show you this. So it's File, Import CCD, and again you would navigate to that location. It did go right back to that same place because that's the way it works with File Explorer. I'm going to double click on this. The information message indicates that the patient has been matched. The CCD has been attached to this EHR record. Now when you come down to the attachments, you can see that it has been given the attachment type of CCD and the description, and here it is right there. Okay. Let's just go to the medications and allergies. Just going to demonstrate one of these. So I would right click on the medications grid, choose prescriptions, and reconcile from CCD. It's going to choose this XML file, which is now part of the patient's attachments. This 64 is actually the patient's ID, not the account number. We'll double click on this. Another window will display, giving you the option to choose which options are to be reconciled. So let's just choose all of these. I'm just going to click those, and as you see, whenever they're clicked, they're added to the bottom. We'll do OK, and you can see that they're now part of this. Again, this takes a little more work to go through this, but you get to manually choose. Allergies, same way. Right click, reconcile from CCD. We'll double click on that, and I'm just going to choose the latex allergy here and do OK, and you can see it brings it in. The problem list is the exact same way. I can go to the problem list here, right click, problem list, reconcile from CCD. Double click this, choose the options of choice, and it will bring those right into that. I'm not going to demonstrate that since it's just the same as the other two with allergies and meds. So now you have seen both options on reconciling from a CCD. Again, the quickest and easiest to do everything all at one time is just to choose incorporate. The other option, which takes a little more work but gives you the ability to choose which selections you want to make, is the import CCD. Makes it very nice in getting information into your new patient record. Saves you a lot of time versus having to look at the information that was sent over and then manually enter each allergy, each medication, and each problem. identically as it was. It's a great time saver. It makes your records quite a bit more accurate. Thank you very much for your time and attention. This completes this training session.